Welcome to American Fork High School for a High School Rewind Game of the Week. I am Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us. Our matchup, the American Fork Cavemen and the Pleasant Grove Vikings. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you along with us for this Region 4 battle. These two teams are tied for the second seed in this region, and tonight the winner will take sole possession of that seeding heading into the second half of region play. Let's start with the Pleasant Grove Vikings. The Vikings had their 10-game winning streak snapped last week against Lone Peak. They bounced back, got two impressive wins, and now tonight against AF, their longtime rival, they're going to have to prove their worth and continue to fight to be in the top end of the region heading into the state tournament. The big key tonight is going to be Matt Conway. Matt Conway is dominating the post in the games we've seen here on High School Rewind, but tonight he's going against the best post player possibly in the state and the best he's going to see this year in Ryan Andrus. Conway's averaging 23 points a game, and most of those points are and-one opportunities for the Vikings. If he can get those and-one opportunities, get those fouls onto Andrus, it'll be a big key for the Vikings. Another player to keep your eyes on is going to be Mr. Court, the point guard for Pleasant Grove. He could have an opportunity to have a really big night tonight. We'll see what he looks to do with the guard play against American Fork. Let's talk about the Cavemen. AF comes in to this matchup 4-1 in region as well. Their lone loss is to Lone Peak. It was the first region game for the Vikings. Since that loss, they have won 4 straight in region by an average of 17 points per game. They've really turned it on and played very, very well. And when you go through the stats, it's pretty impressive because you have 3 guys all averaging double figures and playing very well. They are led by BYU commit Ryan Andrus. We talked about the big matchup he's going to have with Matt Conway. A big night tonight for Ryan Andrus to step up and play well. He's going to have help from his running mate down the post and Mr. Rossum, and also going to have good guard play and have to have Brendan Bailey show up tonight and shoot it from range because the ball's going to be able to go inside out against Pleasant Grove. This should be a good one. You know, our players, our teams, and a couple of keys to game. When we come back, it'll be the opening tip-off. You are watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand. We're about set to get started for the opening tip-off. Pleasant Grove wearing their blacks, American Fork in their whites. We'll go to the starting lineups for both teams. Riley Court, first for Pleasant Grove, Riley Court, Forrest Pincock, Hayden DeHoyos, Matt Conway, and number 12, Mark Sheffield. Conway will jump it up against Tyler Rossum. And American Fork wins the tip. And it goes into the hands of the starting point guard. We apologize, we don't have a number 20 on our roster. We'll get it sorted out throughout this game. First possession will go to American Fork. Rossum at the three-point line has that ball stolen away. It's for DeHoyos, and DeHoyos loses the handle on the crossover. Back down the floor we go with American Fork, and they'll set it up once again. This is Spencer Johnson. Johnson here on the angle. Johnson to Brendan Bailey. Bailey over top to Andrus. Andrus off the window, crawls out, and a rebound collected by Sheffield. Here's Forrest Pincock. Pincock gets it to Conway on the baseline. Fall-away jumper rattles out. So both Conway and Andrus rattle out their first bucket out of bounds off PG. We'll go with AF. So our 2 open players have a shot apiece, both of which have them rattle out. Back down the floor with American Fork. Here's Spencer Johnson. Up top, Brendan Bailey. Lob again to Andrus. Andrus has a blow by it. It might have been tipped. Missed that well short. Here's Pincock back down the floor. Pincock hands back Conway. Cross court to Court for 3. That's too strong, and the rebound taken by Tyler Rossum. Back down the floor with American Fork. Here's Brendan Bailey. Crossover 3. And that's short, online, a little short. Energy in the building. Just wait for the first one to go down. Pincock's pass picked off, back down the floor. Hesitation, off the window. No, rebound to Brendan Bailey. Fall-away jumper. Won't go, and the rebound to Sheffield. Back down the floor. Here's Court in the lane, now into the corner. DeHoyos drop it into Conway. Conway bumped and fouled, and I believe that'll go against Brendan Bailey. It'll be 2 free throws coming away at Matt Conway. Conway missed the first free throws, got one more. Second is short as well. Neither team are able to get on the board as we are now 2 minutes into this ball game, still tied at 0. Here's Brendan Bailey down the baseline. Bailey to the hole, and Brendan Bailey with the first points of the game. 2-0 lead for American Fork. Brendan Bailey, as we mentioned a couple times, sophomore, son of Thurl Bailey, former Jazz great. Hopefully this will give Dad a chance to watch the game in its entirety. He's working the Jazz game tonight. It's Jerry Sloan night in the state of Utah. Sheffield had the ball kicked away and will stay here with PG. 5.5 remaining in the first quarter. Here's Forrest Pincock. Pincock gets it to Sheffield. Sheffield working on Andrus. He hands it to Court and resets the offense. Court working on Johnson. Here's Conway working on Rawson. Conway bumped again in the lane and it won't go. And a rebound to to Ryan Andrus. Back down the floor we go with Spencer Johnson. Drops inside of Rawson. Leaves a man open jumper and good. Then number 20 is Braden Condi, sophomore guard. 4-0 to lead for AF. Here's De Hoyo, stands now Forrest Pincock. Here's Sheffield, out to Conway for three. And the big fella showing the range. Conway gets Pleasant Grove on the board. 4-3 our score. 4.5 remaining in the first as Bailey can't get that one to fall. Rebounded to Hoyos. Quickly down the floor with the Vikings. Here's Court. He pulls for three. Had Court from downtown. Just like that, it's 6-4 in favor of Pleasant Grove. Outside now with Rawson. Rawson to the hole, leaves it for Andrus. And a block is going to be called on Forrest Pincock. First team foul against Pleasant Grove. Rawson lobs into Andrus, fall away from the free throw line, too strong. Rawson chases down the board. Gets it into Andrus again, a little off the mark. Will go back with Pleasant Grove. Halfway through the first quarter, 6-4 to lead for PG. Here's Conway. Working on Rawson. Gets a bump, can't get the bucket. Goes after the board. That looks like it was off the AF, and it was. We'll stay here with Pleasant Grove. Pincock the trigger. He'll inbound to Sheffield. Hand to Court and set up the offense. Court in the corner. Oh, gets it to Conway. Terrific design on that play. Nice ball movement and an easy two for Conway, who now has 5 points. 8-4 the lead for the Vikings. Here's Brendan Bailey playing with the mask tonight. Little Rip Hamilton look to him. Down the lane. Oh, what a throw down! And one! Tyler Rawson skies through the air, throws it home. I guess he had one opportunity. The foul's on Diedrichson, his first team second. Put on a poster by Tyler Rawson, and Rawson completes the three-point play. And it's 8-7. Back down the floor, Court in the corner, Diedrichson. That's off the mark, rebound to Bailey. Quickly down the floor now with Condi and the Cavemen. Here's Rawson, again over the top to Andrus. Andrus can't finish. Rebound taken by Court. Riley Court pushing up the floor, 5-on-3. Court pulls up at the free throw line, and it won't go, tipped up by Conway, and the board again to Brendan Bailey. 2:50 remaining in the first quarter. A little slow to get started, but had some fireworks provided by Tyler Rawson and some deep shooting from Conway and Court. Spencer Johnson for three, no. Rebound collected again by Bailey. Rawson for three. And a rebound to Court. Had it slapped away by Johnson, and will stay with PG. Here's Court. Works off the screen to Conway. Court in the corner to Pincock. Pincock down the lane. Out to Diedrichson, into the corner. Here's Conway bumping his way. Far from the hoop, and it's stripped away by Rawson, and will stay here. Pincock the trigger. Gets it into Conway. Slapped away by Bailey and taken by Rawson. Back down the floor with Condi. Rawson inside, easy two for Taylor Larson. The scoreboard went out. We'll come right back to you once we have it fixed. 9-8 in favor of PG, or pardon me, of AF. Cavemen leading. Here's Pincock. Now Wilson. Hands to Riley Court. 1.5 remaining in the first quarter. On the angle now with Diedrichsen. Diedrichsen finds Wilson on the backside. Wilson takes a bump and finishes. Larson tried to draw the charge. Good no call. And the lead goes back to PGs. They now lead 10-9. Here's Condi. Now Rawson. Rawson tries to get it to Larson, has it stripped away. Back down the floor now with Court. Court in the lane, into the corner. Sheffield for three. And that route comes off the rim. That's off of Bailey, and will stay here. The inbound, get it into Court. Three on the way from Wilson, and Wilson from downtown. Third three of the quarter for the Vikings. 13-9. Larson, pump fake, and a layup. 13-11. 4 points now for Taylor Larson. Diedrichsen hands back to Braden Wellman. And Coach McAllister calling for one more shot. Gonna hold it out here, at least try to. Here's Sheffield. And a foul on Spencer Johnson. Second team foul on AF. Inbound to Wellman. 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Now down to 20. Here's Brown. 13 seconds. Hands back to Wellman. Now down to 10. Trap is on. Got it to Brown. Brown dribbles out. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield will jump it off the window. No. Rebound to Andrus. 1 second. He'll count if it goes. And at the end of one, it's Pleasant Grove 13, AF 11. Start of the second quarter, 2-point lead for PG. Here's Wellman. Here's Brown. Had a three-pointer at the end of the first quarter. Back to Wellman. Here's Brown. Guarded by Bailey. Back to Wellman, now Brown. Three on the way from Court, too strong. And a rebound tracked down by AF. Here's Taylor Larson. Now Brennan Bailey. Bailey working on Brown. Spencer Johnson hits the deck. Holding outside is Braden Harris. Hands back to Bailey. Near side, Spencer Johnson. Outside, Braden Harris. Now Spencer Johnson. Long possession here for AF. Bailey lobbed to Larson, and Larson finishes. Nice finish by Taylor Larson, the senior forward. Ties us up at 13. Long possession by AF. We're now to 6.5. Brown passes off the mark to Wilson. Stolen by Larson. Quickly down the floor with Spencer Johnson. Johnson called for the charge. Sheffield gets the benefit of that call, and we'll go back to the Vikings. So after the charge call, that's the third team foul against American Fork. 2 team fouls on PG. Possession arrow belongs to AF. As that is stolen by Bailey. Terrific defense from Brennan Bailey. Quickly down the floor now with Condi. Hit the 6-minute mark in the second quarter. Here's Andrus. Now Bailey. Now Larson. Larson having quite the first half. To the hole and one. Taylor Larson with another bucket, and he'll go to the line for the 3-point play. Larson at the line for the and one. Taylor Larson unofficially now with 11 points. Leading scorer. pardon me, 9 points. Brown's pass, alley-oop! Oh, what a pass to Matt Conway. Conway throws it down. Clean down the floor, here's Larson. No look pass to Andrus, a little too strong, and we'll go back to the Vikings. What a beautiful pass from Mitch Brown to Matt Conway for that last dunk. Back down the floor with PG. 5:20 on the clock. Trailing by 1, 16-15. In a highly entertaining first half. Here's Mitch Brown. Now Riley Court. Court to Conway. Jumper from the junction, too strong. Rebound to Sheffield. And Sheffield lays it off the glass. And it's a 17-16 lead for the Vikings. Back down the floor with the Cavemen. Here's Condi. Now Brennan Bailey. Bailey will pull for 3. That's off the mark. Tapped out by Larson, and we will go with PG. Down the floor we go with the Vikings. Forrest Pincock. Now Matt Conway. Here's Gethers, who just checked into the game. Now Sheffield has that one kicked away by Andrus. No call on the kick ball. And we'll go back with PG. Down the floor with the Vikings. Going 4 high, now to Pincock. Here's Sheffield, now Gethers. Gethers still hanging. And has that pass stolen by Rawson. Rawson to Larson, and that's deflected out of bounds by Pleasant Grove. Will stay here. Condi to trigger the inbound, gets it into Andrus. Now Larson. And that pass, the alley-oop, off the mark from Johnson. Will go the other way with PG. Halfway through the second quarter, 1 point lead for Pleasant Grove. Here's Riley Court, crosses his way over to the hole. Got a beautiful crossover, fake the pass, lay it in. And it's 19-16 Vikings. Larson, Andrus, hands it back to Condi. Now Rawson on the angle with Johnson, drop it inside Andrus, being quiet. Condi for 3, and 1! A 4-point play opportunity as Condi buries the triple, takes the bump and finishes, and Braden Condi goes to the line looking for the 4-point play. Condi at the line for the rare 4-point opportunity and rattles it away. 20-19 the lead for AF. Pulling back down the floor with Riley Court. 3:25 on the clock. Court now Forrest Pincock. And we got a bump foul on Bailey. I believe that's number 2 on Brennan Bailey. That's the 14th foul on AF. Riley Court walking into the front court. Into the corner. Here's De Hoyos. Hands back to Forrest Pincock. Conway for 3, his second of the half. Matt Conway from downtown. He's showing a little bit of everything. Working inside, getting and ones, and now 2 threes and a dunk. 3 on the way from Johnson, though, tipped up by Rawson, and good. Terrific job by Tyler Rawson. And we'll have travel on Court. Bailey went for the steal. Court shoved with his feet, and we'll stay here with AF. 2:43 remaining in the first half. Condi to trigger. Here's Rawson looking inside to Andrus, cross court Johnson. Johnson gets it out to Condi, and it's off the mark. Turnover, and the Vikings will take over on the other side of the floor. Get it into Conway. Conway is being called for the charge. First foul on Matt Conway, 15th foul on PG. 22 all with 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the first half. Here's Johnson. Screen from Andrus. And a moving screen call on Ryan Andrus. Looked pretty solid. That's now 5 team fouls on AF. Down the floor now with Court after the foul on Andrus. Here's De Hoyos. Up top of Court. Pincock. Now Sheffield. Andrus with him. Sheffield dribbles and terminates, hands back to Riley Court. Court now on Andrus. Pulls for three. And Riley Court's second three of the half. 25-22 in favor of the Vikings. Gibb drops it inside Andrus. Triple team Cubs. Follow away jumper won't go. Rebound to Court. Quickly up the floor now. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield in the lane. Sheffield to the hole. Sheffield with the bucket. 27-22 with 1:25 remaining in the first half. Johnson for three. That's off the mark and a rebound to Conway. Court, the full court pass to De Hoyos. Reverse it and score it. Oh, what a bucket by De Hoyos. A beautiful pass from Court. De Hoyos with the finish. Timeout AF. 1:14 remaining in the half. 29-22 Vikings. So after the timeout, AF's going to need to close out this half with good possessions. I don't believe Andrus has scored. Here's Gibb on the angle. Gibb up top, Andrus. Back to Gibb. Drop it into, Rawson. Trying to get to Andrus, is stolen. Going the other way with Sheffield. Sheffield into the corner, Pincock for three. Another big three from Pleasant Grove. This one off the hand of Forrest Pincock. Leading by 10, 32-22. Gibb, now Condi. Back to Gibb. They're surrounding Andrus. The lob didn't work early. Getting a little frustrated here, and they forced the ball to him. Condi to Rawson for three. And Rawson stops the bleeding. Rawson from downtown. Our score now 32-25. Pleasant Grove going to walk the ball up the floor and look for the final shot of the first half. Big bucket there from Tyler Rawson, who's played very, very well in the first half. Outside with Pincock, now Sheffield. 5 seconds, 3 seconds. Lob to Conway, off the window and good! Terrific execution. And on that lob, it wasn't a dunk, but it still counts for two. And at the half, the Vikings go in with a lot of momentum. They lead 34-25 over AF. Ready for the second half. AF trailing by 9 after that terrific end of the half for Pleasant Grove and the alley-oop to Matt Conway. Here's Condi. Here's Tyler Rawson, who had a very strong first half. Andrus with 1 point. He had a free throw. What we have is correct. Here's Condi again. Cross-court Johnson. Now Rawson. Rawson to the hoop. And the finish took a bump. No call. And now puts us 34-27. Rawson continuing to build on the strong first half. Hit that triple right before the end. He has the last 5 points for the Cavemen. Here's De Hoyos. De Hoyos trying to get into Conway. Conway directing it away. Went to Sheffield, the high post. Still loose on the ground, and now jump ball, correctly called. Will stay here. Pincock inbounds to Riley Court. Court had a strong first half for PG. Court and Conway played very, very well. Here's Forrest Pincock. He had a three-pointer in the second quarter. Backs it out. Goes cross-court to De Hoyos. As De Hoyos backs it out, 6 minutes and 35 seconds now on the clock. Here's Riley Court. Court hands back to Hoyos. De Hoyos outside Sheffield. Sheffield lob to Conway. Conway with the bucket. Got lost behind the defense with all the ball movement. And it's back to a 9-point game, 36-27. Condi to Bailey. Bailey drop it into Rawson. Rawson down the baseline, and they get him with the charge. Riley Court walking up the floor, 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Cross to force Pincock. Pincock hands back to Court. Long possessions from PG to start the second half. Court lob in the corner, Pincock for three. Pincock's second of the game. 39-27. Largest lead of the game for the Vikings. Now by 12. Drop it into Andrus, and Andrus is his first field goal. Quickly down the floor, Court gets into Sheffield. Sheffield, pump fake, gets a man up, and that foul will go on Tyler Rawson. And 2 free throws coming to Sheffield. First free throw was good from Sheffield. Second good as well. 41-29. Back down the floor with Condi. Here's Spencer Johnson. Back to Condi, now to Bailey. Bailey for three. And Bailey, his first from downtown. Welcome sign from the Cavemen. That ball knocked out of bounds by Andrus and will stay here. Inbound to Pincock. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield cross court to Hoyos. To Hoyos. Out to Court for three. Riley Court's third three of the game. And a foul on Sheffield. Nice job by Condi at baiting that foul, but what a shot by Court. 44-32. Back down the floor with the Cavemen. Outside Rawson. Here's Condi, now Bailey, who just hit the three. Lob the backside to Rawson. His second dunk and his second harm on the dunk. The foul to Sheffield. And as my friend David Locke would say, the hoop and a harm to Tyler Rawson. Dunk in the first quarter, he was fouled, and he made the free throw. He gets the alley-oop and the free throw. 44-35, breathing life into this crowd. Into the corner, Pincock. And timeout, Coach McAllister. 4:27 remaining in the third quarter. 44-35, Vikings lead. After the timeout, Pincock to trigger the inbound. Gets it to Riley Court, and Court will set up the offense for the Vikings. Hot shooting from PG is helping build this lead. Back side to Court. Court gets it, I believe it's Conway. Conway misses the first, goes back up, and it crawls out, and the loose ball is picked up by Bailey. Opportunities for Matt Conway, couldn't cash in. Back down the floor, Johnson. Here's here's Condi. Drops it inside, Andrus, now to Rawson. Rawson, and one! Tyler Rawson! His second bump and bucket of the night, or third, pardon me. He'll go to the line looking for the three-point play. Rawson at the line looking for the three-point play. And it crawls off. Quickly down the floor, here's Riley Court in the corner. Pincock for three. Pincock's third. Lighting it up from downtown are the Vikings. 10-point lead, 47-37. All the attention's gone to Andrus, and tonight it's all about Tyler Rawson offensively for the Cavemen. Condi gets it to Rawson. Has it in the corner. Cross court, Bailey for three. Off the mark, and the rebound to Court. Quickly down the floor with the Vikings. Oh, nice pass to Sheffield. Sheffield taking it to go, and there's the basket interference. Goaltending on Tyler Rawson. So count the bucket, 49-37. 12-point lead for for PG. Down the floor with Condi. Hands off to Bailey. Now Johnson. Johnson drops inside. Larson has a strong first half. Condi now reverses to Bailey, and a foul on Riley Court. I believe that's number 2 on Riley Court. That's the 13th foul on Pleasant Grove. 14 fouls now on PG. That's the second on Court. As we hit the 3-minute mark in the third quarter. Johnson, and now Bailey, and a foul on Larson. Taylor Larson with the illegal screen will go the other way. Court walks into the front court after the foul. 14 fouls on PG, 3 team fouls on AF. Possession arrow belongs to the Cavemen. 2:50 on the clock. Court, trap comes, gives it to Pincock. Hands back to Riley Court, 2:40 now on the clock. Do it all over again. Quickly reverse to Court, thought about three, put on the floor. Leap and leaner off the window and good. Riley Court having a strong game, cooking down the floor, 14-point lead now. Cavemen got to go to work. Drop it into Rawson. Inside out to Johnson. Johnson down the baseline. Float it up, no. Put back for Rawson. Tyler Rawson having an outstanding evening, keeping the Cavemen within striking distance. And that's stolen, but a foul on the inbound to Larson. And we'll stay here. That's a 15th foul. Or pardon me, 14th foul on AF. Pincock lobs into Conway. Conway goes right to the hoop and swatted by Rawson, and a foul. The 15th foul on AF, and that was a block. That was a roof by Tyler Rawson. Conway will go to the line. First free throw was good from Conway. He's got one more. Conway makes them both. 53-49 the score. 2:05 remaining in the third quarter. Gotta finish the last 2 minutes if you are AF. Gotta get buckets and stops. Bailey in the lane. Jump it and score it. 53-41. Bailey has 2 buckets in the quarter. 3 in that too. In the corner, Diedrichsen. Steps out for 3. And got it! Oh! Looked for the charge. Did Rawson, did he get it? And Nate Diedrichsen buries another triple for the Vikings, and it's a 15-point lead. 1.5 remaining. Here's Johnson down the baseline, floated up again, and this time it drops. 56-43. Court cross to Wilson. That's off the mark. Thought that was going to fall. Would have been Wilson's second. Back down the floor. Here's Johnson. Now Rawson. Drop it in. Andrus lost the handle. Looked for the foul and got it. Keep it on the floor. And as the 15th foul on PG, Gibb to trigger. Got to get it in, and does to Johnson. 1:05 now on the clock, outside to Condi. Condi now to Gibb. Gibb gets it into Andrus. Andrus faces up in the corner. Bailey down the baseline. Bailey gets it to go. Crawls over the rim. Brendan Bailey now with 7 points in the quarter. And it's to an 11-point game, 56-45. 45 seconds on the clock. Court is going to hold it out. Now down to 35 seconds. Here's Court. Going to dribble through and back it out. Remember, no shot clock. They can take down the whole 45, 47 seconds that was on the clock. Diedrichsen, who just hit that 3. Now to 20 seconds. Got to address this at one point or another. Making teams play offense and not kill quarters with one possession. Conway with the screen for Court. 7 seconds. Ball knocked out of bounds and will stay here. 6.4 remaining in the third. Brown to trigger. Gets it in to Wilson. 5 seconds. 3 seconds. Now here's Court. 2 seconds. He'll count if it goes for Court. Too strong. No bucket. Count. It will not count. Wave it off from Conway. And at the end of 3, it's 56-45 Vikings over the Cavemen. Getting the fourth quarter. It's an 11-point lead for the Vikings. The Cavemen have got to cut into this to stay into it. The winner's going to take over the second seed in the region. Johnson in the hole, and he's fouled. They'll go to the line to shoot 2. That goes on Riley Court, and that's number 3. Johnson made the first, got one more. And the second, it's every part of the rim, and then drops. 56-47. Get down to single digits. Pincock. In the corner is Diedrichsen. Now high post Conway. Inside out Court in the corner. Wilson now up top Pincock. Now Diedrichsen. Here's Riley Court. Now Pincock. Pincock terminates. Has back Diedrichsen for 3. His second! Diedrichsen comes off the bench and now he's at 2 threes and pushes the lead back up to 12. 59-47. Here's Condi. Hands off to Johnson. Back to Condi. Conde holds, drops it into Andrus. Andrus backs Conway down. I think it's easy too. 59-49. AF has got to get stops. Here's Pincock. Now Court. And that stole, no, Andrus couldn't hold on to it. 5-on-4 in the corner, Dietrichson for number 3. It's off the mark, and a rebound to Andrus. Conde runs into the front court. Here's Rawson in the corner, Bailey. That comes off the rim, and the rebound to Dietrichson. Dietrichson, Pincock. 5-on-4 as Andrus slow to get back. Dietrichson now Court for 3. Number 4! Riley Court, his 4th 3 of the game. Timeout, Coach Meacham. 6:08 remaining in the 4th. It's 62-49 Vikings. 6:05 on the clock and a 13-point lead for Pleasant Grove. Here's Johnson. Gets it in to Andrus. We got a foul on Conway. I believe that's number 2 on Conway. AF is now in the bonus. Andrus made the first free throw. And the second. 62-51. 5:58 remaining. Full court pressure on from AF. Here's Pincock. Now to Court. And as that one kicked out of bounds, we'll stay here. Pincock the trigger. He gets it into Court. 5:50 on the clock. We could expect long possessions from PG. Here's De Hoyos. Into the corner, Pincock. Quickly runs it out. Now Court. Pincock down the lane. Terminates, hands it out to Sheffield. Not looking for a shot. Now to Riley Court. So we mentioned long possessions. Here's Court. Has it swatted away by Johnson. Ahead to Johnson. And no call on the other end. As Court fouled Condes. He tried to get that off, but the officials didn't call it. It's now a 9-point game, 62-53. With the long possessions, what you run risk of is getting out of rhythm. And they'll foul on AF. That'll be number 6. Number 6 team foul. One more will be in the bonus. So 5:03 remaining. Getting pressure from AF. Here's Court. Tracks down a loose ball. Now Pincock. Now here's Sheffield. We were mentioning before, just before the foul, the long possessions can take you out of rhythm offensively. When holding it out too long, there's Conway. Fans wanted to travel on Sheffield or 3 seconds. Didn't get either. Here's Court into the corner, Sheffield. And a block charge and a block on Rawson. And now that puts PG in the bonus. Personal foul on Tyler Rawson. That's a huge blow down the stretch of this game. Bailey picks up the rebound. Bailey pushing it in the front court. Reverses out. Here's Tyler Rawson. Gets it into Andrus. Can't hang on to it. We'll go the other way. Andrus trying to go too quickly. And they go full court pass. Conway tips it to De Hoyos. And De Hoyos with the layup. Heads up play by Matt Conway. Push it back up to 11. 64-53. Here's Brennan Bailey. There's Johnson. 4-3. And it's off the mark. Rebound to Sheffield. And luckily it wasn't a block call on Rawson. We'll stay here out of bounds off of PG. Rawson to trigger. Taylor Larson came in. And out of bounds, we'll stay here. Rawson to trigger. Gets it into Bailey. A deep 3 and good. Brennan Bailey's second 3 of the game. 8-point ball game. 64-56. Pincock. Outside court. And that could have been a travel, no call. And a block. And then called jump ball. Possession arrow belongs to PG. Pincock to trigger the inbound. 3:47 remaining in the game clock. Gets it into Court. Now down to 3:40. Here's Court. Outside, Conway. In the corner, Pincock for 3. Forrest Pincock again. PG has lit it up from range. And he pushes it back up to 11. 67-56. Johnson down the baseline, terminates. Falling away, gets it to Larson, drop it in Andrus. Outside Conde, now Bailey. Bailey in the lane, leaves it short, rebound to Hoyos. PG with a chance to put this game to bed on this possession. Pigcock down the lane, leaves it for Conway. Pirouettes, lay it up, no. And the ball's still loose and picked up by Johnson. Johnson running in the front court, gets it to Condi. Condi the hole, and lays it in. Timeout AF. 2:52 remaining in the fourth. PG 67, American Fork 58. 2:52 remaining in the fourth. Pincock gets it into Conway. Rawson right with him. He's got to be smart. 4 fouls. Pincock going to push it into the front court. He holds on to the pivot. Here's Sheffield. Holds on. Sheffield out to De Hoyos. 2:35 now on the clock. De Hoyos down the lane. Gets it to Conway. Conway swat away from behind by Rawson, and will stay here. So part of the disadvantage of no shot clock is Rawson with a big defensive play, but it means a longer possession into Conway, and Conway scores. 69-58. So it wouldn't have mattered. 11-point lead for PG. Here's Johnson. Johnson on the baseline. Gets it to Larson. Larson's first bucket since the first half. Comes up a little lame there. 69-60. Conway gets away from Rawson, pushed it in the front court. He terminates and now gets it to court. Timeout, Coach McAllister. 1:58 remaining. 69-60. PG leads. Timeout. 1:58 remaining in the game. Oh, quick inbound into Riley Court. And Court fouled. No, they're called foul on the floor. It'll be 1-1 coming for Riley Court. Foul will go against Condi. Court made the first. Got one more. And rattles off. Condi running the front court, trailing 70-60. 1:50 on the clock. Here's Johnson. Near side Bailey for 3. And that's short. Rebound to Sheffield. And that's off of Sheffield. They're going to keep it with PG. It was right off Sheffield's leg. We'll see if they correct it. Correctly overturned. Ball goes to American Fork. 1:35, trailing 70-60. Here's Condi. Andrus for 3. And the big fella steps out and buries the 3. 70-63. Timeout, Coach Beecham. 1:25 remaining in the fourth. 70-63, PG. Full court pressure on after the timeout. Look for a steal and then the foul. Here's Court. Court, the trap comes. Court forces it, and that should have been picked up by Harris. It is picked up by him. Harris into the front court to Johnson. Pincock looking for the charge, no call. Here's Bailey. Bailey into the corner to Harris. Now back to Bailey. 1:05 now. Bailey in the lane, jump in and rattle home. 5-point game, 70-65. 1:02. Now down to 1 minute. Pincock gets it in to Court, and Court's gonna be fouled by Bailey, and it'll be 1-1 coming to Riley Court with 57.8 remaining in the fourth. Court made the front end. Rattles in the second. 7-point game. Johnson. Errant pass will stay here. Rawson back in the game to trigger the inbound. Gets it into Andrus. Andrus again for 3. That's off the mark. Johnson fighting for the board. And will stay here. 47 seconds left. Rawson inbound, gets it into Bailey. Bailey back to Rawson in the corner. 44 seconds now. Got to get moving. Rawson to Condi. Condi gets it back to Rawson. Off the screen. Rawson for 3. No. And Andrus is going to get the foul. That will go against Conway. And Andrus will go to the line to shoot 1-1. And that'll be the 8th team foul on PG. Andrus able to get off the floor. That means Brayden Harris will shoot the 1-1. And Harris misses the first. And Sheffield, the board, hands it to Court. Down to 30 seconds as Court's fouled along the sideline. And Court will go to the line to shoot 2 as PG enters the double bonus. Court made both free throws. 30 seconds remaining, 74-65. The lead for Pleasant Grove. AF's got to move and move quickly. Bailey for 3. And that one goes for Brendan Bailey. Timeout, Coach Beecham. 21.8 remaining on the clock. 74-68 our score. 21.8, the inbound in, that goes off of court, will stay here. Off of Riley Court and will stay with AF. Rawson to trigger, trying to get the ball into Bailey and does. Bailey puts up the three and it's short and tracks down his own board. Gets it to Johnson for three. Johnson can't get it to go court with the board. And out of the foul, 12.6 remaining. Had a chance to really make this interesting. Riley Court going to the line to ice the game away with 12.5 seconds remaining. Court made both free throws. Condi picks it up with 12 seconds. Got to shoot it. Condi does. And it's well short. Johnson the board, flip it up, and no. Bailey with it, and he'll put it in and score, and that'll be timeout. Coach Beecham, 0.7 seconds, about 1.2 left, but 0.7 on the clock. 2 seconds back on the clock. Pincock gets it in to Gathers. Bailey fouls him, puts Gathers at the line. Gathers missed the first, and misses second. Rawson will throw it full court, and that'll do it. Our final score, Pleasant Grove 76, American Fork 70, and a big win for PG. They now move to 5-1 in region play, and they now control the second seed and a chance to take the region in the second half of the season. They get big wins against Lone Peak. For AF, they fall to 4-2. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the post-game wrap-up. Again, our final score, Pleasant Grove 76, American Fork 70. Stay tuned for our post-game wrap-up. And welcome back again. Our final score, Pleasant Grove 76, American Fork 70, and a fun, entertaining game here in Region 4. As we mentioned right at the end, Pleasant Grove moves to 5-1 in region play. They have control of the second seed, and for American Fork, they fall to 4-2, stay in that third seed now, and we'll have the battle here in the second half of the season. Get big wins. Everything's still in the toss-up for the first three seeds between Lone Peak, PG, and AF as we head to the second part of Region 4 play. But this game was a lot of fun, up and down, the highlights all over the place. We had dunks from Tyler Rawson as he had +1s on both of them, one on alley-oop, the other one down the lane. A big dunk was a lot of fun. And then the number of threes, the difference in this ball game was the three-point shooting from Pleasant Grove. Riley Court had 4 threes. Forrest Pincock, I believe, had 4 threes. Conway had 2. Diedrichsen had 2. I believe Wilson had 1 or 2. Everybody was lighting it up from the outside for the Vikings, and that was the difference in this ball game, really throughout the game as well. And you look at American Fork, Tyler Rawson stepped up and played a terrific game for AF, just not enough to keep them really in distance as Brendan Bailey got going in the second half. But Andrus really didn't get going. The defensive game plan from Coach McAllister was terrific. Did a nice job at going after Andrus and denying him the basketball as he never got in rhythm in this ball game throughout the whole game. And our player of the game is going to go to Riley Court. Thought Riley played an outstanding game. Hit 4 threes, hit clutch free throws down the stretch. His play was a bit of the difference in this ball game for Pleasant Grove and really led his team to the victory tonight. Played extremely well. And congratulations to Riley Court, our high school rewind player of the game. Well, again, our final score, Pleasant Grove 76, American Fork 70. For Vince Francis, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand.